Hello, philosophy students. How are you? I'm good. Things here are okay. You can see my daughter working hard from her computer, getting all of her schoolwork done. Um, so let's talk about today's assignment, or this week's assignment, excuse me. And we're into, I guess it's week 4 now. Um, I do want to say I miss seeing all you guys, and I hope everybody's well. And it's a drag that we have to do this electronically, and I don't get to see you guys, but it's for the best. And hopefully this goes away in a month or 6 weeks, and I'll see you again soon. But until then, we'll be doing kind of a different thing. Um, just looking at this week, we're just looking at different kind of branches of philosophy. And let's see, who's new to the class? Shane and Heath. I believe you two are new. So I will give you guys a quick intro into what philosophy actually is. Um, and you may or may not know, philosophy is um, a way of looking at things. Um, and some examples of philosophy are very obvious ones. Religion is a philosophy. Politics is a philosophy. Um, and just generally, it's your outlook on life is the bigger, broader term used by philosophy. And the things that kind of make our world go around and affect our behavior and how we interact with our world. And that's kind of our philosophy. Um, an example that I always use is like politically. We are the United States, obviously, and we believe in democracy and the freedom for people to vote and freedom of speech and freedom of religion and all that stuff. And so that's our philosophy. And people in different countries might not necessarily believe the same things that we do. Sophia Michelle, go back and
Daddy,
finish your work.
they said I didn't pass the quiz. Do I do it again?
Sorry, you guys.
Do I do it again or do I just move on to science?
Go to science and we'll go back and look at it again. Sorry about that, you all. Okay, so this week we were going to summarize 3 things. What were they? Buddhism, speaking of religion, Marxism, and existentialism. So we'll just kind of quickly go through those. And when you write your summaries, tell me where they started, where they evolved, who were the major characters involved in getting them started and getting them popular, and give me dates and all that kind of stuff. So Buddhism is definitely the oldest of the 3 here, and it is religion. Um, Unofficially, it is the most popular religion in the world, quiet as kept. And that is because it is very, very dominant in um, China. But what kind of political philosophy do the Chinese leaders have? They are communists. And religion is not allowed in communist systems. Um, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So, officially, the Chinese people are of no religion. However, a lot of them practice it and hold its tenets and its philosophies near and dear to their hearts. And China obviously has the biggest amount of people in the whole world. Sophia Michelle, go do your work. No, you don't. You need to finish your work. Anyways, so Buddhism developed. Oh, I'm not coming up with the dates off the top of my head. Long, long time ago. I don't know, 200 BC, something like that. It was founded by a guy named Siddhartha, Gautama. I'm never sure how to pronounce his last name, and he was born um, to an upper class family in ancient India, and the Indian religion is Hinduism, and these two are very close. They share a lot of the same philosophies, a lot of the same concepts, and he was raised essentially. So the story goes inside the castle of his father, very, very powerful man. And one day he wandered outside of his castle and realized that not everybody had it as good as he and his family. And so there's something for your summary. Tell me, he sees three things that kind of open him to the world. Tell me what those were. Tell me what he saw. And it started him on his journey to, quote, enlightenment, which is a concept where you are essentially one with the world. Um, and they do believe in Buddhism that you are reincarnated time after time after time when you die, and you can come back as a better position in life or worse position in life, depending on how you did. And ultimately, the goal is you keep rising as you get reincarnated, and eventually you reach enlightenment. And once you reach enlightenment, you become one with the world. It ends the cycle of reincarnation. Your spirit is gone, and it becomes one with the world. And this was the easiest way for me to describe this for all you Star Wars fans out there. It is the Force. George Lucas took this, and the writers of Star Wars took the concept of the Force directly from Buddhism. So it's, as they say in Star Wars, the living thing, or it's the force of the world, the spirit of the world that binds every living thing together and flows through everything on Earth. And that's what they believe. I've heard it described as a drop of salt in the water. You take some water and you drop a little grain of salt in there, and it dissolves, and you can't see it, but it is everywhere in that water. You cannot drink the water without tasting that salt. So that's what happens to your spirit once you reach enlightenment. So that's kind of Buddhism. Again, sum that up for me. Tell me those things. Marxism was up next, and we were speaking of communism in China. And that's derived from the work of this man, Karl Marx, hence the term Marxism. In the 1800s in Germany, he came up with all these ideas. And so tell me about Marxism and what he believes. He also, for those of you that may have taken my sociology class, he came up with a sociological theory called conflict theory. And in Marx's mind, the world... our countries, our societies are dominated by a fight over money. And it's the rich versus the poor. And it's easy to see this in communist countries or Marxist countries. They eliminate social classes because he saw social classes as the root of the fight. Everybody fighting for money. So if we just get rid of it all and get rid of all the social classes and make everybody equal, we'd have a decent society. And, it's interesting. I think the example I always give of a purely Marxist kind of society, and you can throw the word socialist in there, and communism is a form of socialism, basically. It's originated by the communist leaders in the Soviet Union at the end of World War I. And to give an idea of what they are trying to achieve at its core, at its root, imagine. I always use the example of a Native American society, and we always think of Native Americans, and when the hunters went out and they hunted and they killed something and they came back, they didn't sell it to everybody; they gave it to everybody, and everybody in those societies had a job that would hopefully benefit everybody in the culture and the society. And so when the hunters needed new shoes, they went to the shoemaker, and the shoemaker didn't charge them anything. He fixed it for them. And so everybody had a job that helped the society. There was no money involved. There were no social classes determined by money in Native American society. Certainly there were degrees of respect and degrees of how you were viewed. If you were a crummy little person that didn't get anything done and stole stuff from people, you wouldn't be viewed very well. But if you were a wise person who was a solution solver or a problem solver, and you worked hard and you benefited the society, then you would be held in much higher esteem. So there's that. But financially, and how everybody lived day to day, they were all very, very close to being equal. And so that's like kind of pure Marxism. So Google that. Google Marxism. Tell me what you find. If you tell me the same things I told you, that's okay too. That means that I'm really smart. And the last thing we wanted to do was existentialism, and that's become a very popular philosophy that kind of grew in the 1900s. France, there are two famous authors, Jean-Paul Sartre. How do you like that French accent, eh? And Albert Camus. And they were kind of the leaders of the existential movement in France, and it has really blossomed into a lot of things. And essentially in existentialism, what they tell you to do is kind of live for the now, live for the moment. Excuse me. And if you think about it, our society is filled with rules that we have to follow and mandates and you work hard all your life and you get a good job and you work 40 or 50 hours a week and you put all your money away and you get the nice house and all that stuff, but you're working hard. You're not enjoying yourself a whole lot, right? Very few people have jobs that they actually enjoy, that they would wake up in the morning and go, hey, I want to go do this. So existentialism would tell you that that's not good, that you're not living life. You're unhappy. And it can translate to a lot of different things in life, not just what we do for a living. The example that I always give is the way I like to eat. I like to eat. There's my kitchen. There's my stove. You like my chalkboard paint back there? Pretty cool, huh? There's the big Feed Me Seymour from, what was that movie called? Anyways, so I like to eat. And I like to cook a big dinner and eat, get my dishes put away, hit the couch with a full belly, turn on TV, read a book, and watch TV at the same time. And after about an hour, go back and eat again. Get another portion, not as big as that first plate. And then go back to the couch and eat and lay around for another half hour, maybe get up and have some dessert, and then go to bed. And I love to do that. It's my favorite way to spend an evening. However, it's terrible for me. It turns straight into fat. All that food I just ate doesn't get worked off at all. And then I will get another chin and a bigger waistline and all that good stuff, which is not good. It is unhealthy. So for physical reasons, I don't do that. But man, that really makes me happy. And that's how content I can be every night before I go to bed. But I can't do it for physical reasons. But there are lots of other things that we can't do for societal reasons. And so that's what existentialism talks about, is kind of breaking those norms, those expectations of society that they have on us to make our own selves happy. Now, obviously, there's a fine line between doing something bad for yourself or bad for other people just to make you happy. So again, there's a fine line. And very roughly and quickly, that's what existentialism is. So we have our meeting tomorrow at noon, and I sent the ID number and the password to all of you on Blackbaud. And so I would love to see all of you tomorrow because it's been far too long. And again, I hope everybody is safe and healthy and all of your families are safe and healthy. And hopefully we can be back in the classroom in about 4 or 5 months. So until tomorrow at noon on Zoom, I'll talk to you later. Adios.